What is up?
How's it going, Kellan?
How are you?
Very good.
Dude, crazy. So just like that, bro, it's 2 games to 2 games.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Did you watch both of them today?
No, only the first one. I was at my grandparents' house for the second one.
Oh, did you just get home?
Yeah, I'll probably watch it after this, though.
Dang, yeah. It was. I didn't watch any of it because I was watching UFC all day. But yeah, did you want to talk about the Celtic game?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, get into it.
Yeah. So anyway, the first 2 games, I feel like we really saw kind of this, like, obviously Raptors struggle to score.
Yeah.
And I thought a lot of that was just shooting luck, which obviously has corrected itself over the last 2 games. Like, Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam aren't both going to shoot like under 20% from 3 forever. And then I think Kyle Lowry just made his second 3 of the series a couple of days ago. So I think that's probably the biggest shift that's allowed the Raptors to tie it up at 2.
Yeah.
Just kind of the shooting luck shifting from the Celtics back to Toronto. And with 2 evenly matched teams, and like me and you talked about this when we sort of previewed the series, we kind of knew it was just going to come down to which team was like hitting their shots and which team wasn't. And for the past 2 games, it's been Toronto, and Kemba Walker and especially Jaylen Brown both had a really slow night offensively. I thought Kemba's had an extremely impressive series from a defensive standpoint, but the offense wasn't there for him tonight. And Jason Tatum probably had the best night of those 3, but really struggled sort of late in the game, especially with like getting to a shot. Like OG Anunoby, I thought, did a very good job of taking away what's normally like his go-to, like driving right mid-range jumper. I thought OG Anunoby did a very good job of. I don't think Jason Tatum shot more than 1 or 2 of those today. And so I just think the Raptors, we knew they'd be good defensively, and the shooting lucks kind of shifted for them. And so I think like it's still anybody's series. Obviously the Raptors have the momentum, but I think this is 2 of the most evenly matched teams in the NBA.
No, I definitely agree. The Celtics are good. Dude, they're literally just one like defensive mishap away from being up 3-0, and now it's 2-2. That's so tough.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That is so hard. But I know, but like the Raptors, you got to kind of hand it to them though. Like it seemed like it's crazy how much of a 180 this series did. You know what I mean?
For real, yeah.
Because like the Celtics, yeah.
And it's the same thing that obviously people are already making these comparisons, and it's kind of the obvious place to look. Like it's the same thing as what happened last year when the Bucks went up 2-0 against the Raptors, and then the Raptors came back and won 4 in a row. Like, and I think it's just a testament. Like, obviously, everything I said about the shooting luck and just the, just those sorts of luck-based things switching around. Obviously, everything about that is true. But I also just think it's a good testament to sort of Nick Nurse. Obviously, I think he's the best coach in the NBA. But like, even if he goes down 1-0, goes down 2-0, he can sort of make those adjustments and sort of read the game and alter his sort of strategy in ways that allow his teams to like counter what's been hurting them.
Yeah.
And I think he's done a lot of interesting things with the Raptors defense, especially taking away Jason Tatum. He ran box and 1 for a lot of the past 2 games with OG Anunoby guarding Jason Tatum and the other 4 Raptors players in the zone. And I thought that's been very effective. At times he's even gone with the triangle and 2 and kept Fred VanVleet on Kemba Walker. And I think that's a pretty good look for them as well. So just obviously, very impressive by the Raptors.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea who's going to win the series now. Like I thought it was a clear-cut Celtics, especially after because I was thinking like if the Raptors have to scrape out a win like that, you know what I mean? Because like that's what the Mavericks kind of had to do.
Right.
And I'm like, well, if they have to do that, then I'm not sure how
they were a little more convincing tonight.
Yeah, definitely more convincing. As for the Nuggets, it seemed like I followed a little bit. They kind of rode a big first quarter, and they kind of just like let
For
that
sure.
kind of just like set the like that kind of let them not like let their foot off the brakes or off the gas or whatever, but like
Got up early and held to the lead.
yeah. And that kind of, but yeah, you'll have to watch that game because I don't really know much that happened. I was just really surprised to see the Nuggets up so much.
Right. And the one thing that shocked me, I looked at the box score, was I think I saw Kawhi Leonard was like 4 of 16 or 3 of 16. And obviously, if you can like hold a guy like Kawhi Leonard to that small of offensive output, you're going to have a very good shot at winning the basketball game.
Yeah, for sure. And then so the Rockets, that's another thing that really surprised me though. You want to talk about the Rockets game a little bit?
Surprising to me as well.
What?
I said that was surprising to me as well. I know I picked the Rockets on our podcast, and then I actually was having second thoughts about it, and I was actually really regretting it because the more I thought it through, I actually liked a lot of the things the Lakers would be able to do against them. But credit the Rockets defense. Like, I know it's been like the number one statistically rated defense in the NBA playoffs so far, and they've been the best. But I don't really think anybody expected them to do that good of a job against LeBron and Anthony Davis, but they just looked amazing.
Yeah, I was surprised to see like JaVale on the court.
Right. Yeah, me
in
too.
The starting five, because you were saying how because I forget exactly, like since they're kind of smaller, you think that like JaVale would kind of get left behind, right?
Right. Yeah, and I guess
with the White,
surprised isn't the best word, but more just disappointed. Like I think Frank Vogel is kind of obviously this is his first year with the Lakers in the playoffs, but I think he's kind of establishing himself as one of the guys who might be a little bit slower to sort of make adjustments. And obviously when you're a 1 seed and you're playing the 8 seed, you don't really have to make too many adjustments because your team should be able to beat the 8 seed pretty much
right,
no matter what. But it'll be interesting to see how he reacts to being outplayed by Houston, what sort of changes he makes tomorrow night.
Yeah, but this same kind of thing happened against the Blazers too. You know, maybe the Lakers make adjustments later in the series. This is like a feeling out game or something.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you never know though, because I don't know.
And the thing about the Blazers series is the Lakers just
kind of took advantage of the Blazers.
Not even that. They just had such a terrible shooting night in game 1, and they just played so badly in game 1 that they didn't really have to make adjustments to win the next 4. They just had to play better. And that's pretty much what happened. I think the Lakers are going to have to step a little bit outside their comfort zone to beat Houston.
Yeah,
and I definitely think they can. I'm still like, if you ask me, I'm still taking the Lakers. But
because after Harden, I mean, you have Eric and you have Jeff Green and you've got Russell. but besides Harden, that's like one of your only like consistent scorers in my opinion, I feel like. And if he's not going, it's going to be a long day.
Right, but the thing about Harden is that he's pretty much impossible to stop him, at least from a Lakers standpoint.
Yeah, you're just going to – that's basically what you have to do. You have to deal with him.
Yeah, the Lakers don't really have – no team has – well, Thunder aside, and I'm sure there are a few others, nobody really has the perfect 1v1 matchup for James Harden. Wait, did you get a new phone?
No.
New case?
No, I've had this forever.
Really?
Yeah, this has been my handy dandy guy. Yeah,
that's funny. Okay.
Never I thought I was trying to flex on you or something.
No.
Leaning back with my phone. Jonah, check out my phone. No, this has been my cellular device since Christmas.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But you know what?
Well, I haven't really seen you that. I guess I've seen you a lot since Christmas. So yeah, there's no excuse for that.
But this like spec case is weird though, because like I try to clean it.
Yeah.
But I use like the isopropyl stuff.
Right. Yeah.
For some reason, when I put it on a cotton ball and rub it on here, it melts the rubber on this phone case. So it ends up turning out really weird. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but the inside just gets really jacked up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's the oddest thing ever. But yeah, this is where everything is stored. This is like my notes for this, because like basically with the ESPN app, like I don't really have to write anything down, because like I basically remember everything, but it's nice to have like a little reminder of like all the UFC fights. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just like jog your memory about them.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry for getting so sidetracked. What was I talking about? I was basically, talking about Harden. Like very few people have the perfect 1v1 matchup for him.
Yeah.
So basically, honestly, I'll get to this in a minute. I'll start by talking about what they did do, and then I'll switch over to talking about what they should do. So basically, they were just letting Harden do whatever he wanted. Like Harden assaulted.
Yeah, he did.
He had, in my opinion, his best game of the playoffs, which happened to be the one game he wasn't being guarded by Lou Dort. But he was finally starting to get back to the three ball a little bit. He was basically penetrating the defense at will. He had a great passing game, I thought, too. And credit to the Rockets. Other guys like PJ Tucker got off to a bit of a slow start in the playoffs against OKC. Didn't have his best shooting series, but he had a great game last night. Robert Covington. Well, I guess it wasn't a great Robert Covington game, but he made some shots.
Oh, and also, I feel like an idiot. Like, I was thinking, not Danny, I was thinking of Jeff.
Oh, yeah, Jeff.
Remember when I said that? I was thinking if he was either Eric Gordon or Jeff Green. Because, like, I said, like, Danny Green's on the Rockets.
Oh, yeah, Jeff
And then I was like, no, it's Jeff Green. That's right. Yeah. That's right.
It's confusing because Danny Green's on the Lakers. So there are a couple of Greens in this series.
Yeah, and didn't Jeff, he's the one that had, like, heart surgery? Didn't he have like a condition or something?
Oh, I'm not sure about that.
Here, let me look it up. But yeah, you continue.
Yeah, anyway, so then basically the Lakers would just send help off the weak corner whenever Harden would get into scoring position, which is what every team does. And that's probably the most common way to sort of defend Harden penetration against your team, because like obviously a normal center or a normal team would maybe have like a normal team, you're running pick and roll, or there's at least a center on the floor in some capacity. And so you can kind of have help rim protection in that facet. But with the Rockets, that's less of a thing. So if you're going to send help, which you have to with James Harden, you're going to be helping off a guy who's most likely standing at the 3-point line, and Harden takes advantage of that. And that's kind of what the Rockets offense is based on. And so that was kind of firing on all cylinders last night. And, the one thing I kind of worry about, though, is I do think there are adjustments the Lakers can make. And once the Lakers do make that adjustments, I don't know once they do, or if they do, I don't really know where the Rockets turn after that. So
the thing with the Rockets is like, because obviously the way they play, they can diminish a lead quickly.
Yeah,
like if they just start that's what they did against like the Warriors. Like they just a quick 3-point barrage, and it's like, oh crap, they just turned like a 12-point deficit into like 4 points in like 2 minutes.
And then on the other side of that coin is also they can go cold and
exactly. That's exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, a couple of things I think the Lakers should probably start doing. The first one is just take JaVale off the floor. He has no place in the series. I think Dwight Howard might be borderline quick enough to play some minutes in the series. I don't even trust him that much. But
you weren't high on either of those guys starting the series.
Yeah, if I were Vogel, I'd play Dwight Howard just because I can't play Anthony Davis.
You need to become a coach.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome, dude.
Yeah, that'd be funny. I've always thought it would be fun to like coach like a 4th grade basketball team.
No, yeah, you've said that before. Yeah, I think that would be hilarious. But you couldn't really implement something. You kind of just be like, I feel like if you tell him something, it goes in one ear out the other.
No, exactly. But when I was like at West Albany, and I would be sort of like a coach or an assistant with the like
Mhm.
special needs basketball
Yeah.
team. Like it would be the same thing. I feel like
True that.
it would be fun if anything.
Mhm.
But anyway, but I think so. I think the Lakers need to start not JaVale McGee at center. Like I think JaVale just has to go. Is the thing. He's too slow in the half
Mhm.
court, which is where the Rockets were doing most of their damage. And then the other thing I think that has to happen, and the Lakers actually did switch to this a little bit later in the game, which I was pleased to see, is I don't necessarily think. I think obviously you have to send help off the corner because that way, because the guy on the corner, whether it's probably not Danny Green, but if it's Contavious Caldwell Pope or LeBron or preferably Anthony Davis, they can like see the play from the corner and kind of watch Harden and kind of know when to time their rotation to the rim to sort of cut Harden off. But then I think what has to happen is whoever's guarding Westbrook or maybe Robert Covington, whoever's guarding the guy who's sitting at the wing has to rotate down into the corner to take away that super easy pass for James Harden. And I think you've got to force Harden to kind of throw it back up.
Oh, like if Harden's dishing it out to like PJ Tucker in the corner?
Yeah. You can't just let Harden make the simplest pass to the corner on every possession. You've got to kind of switch it up and like.
Yeah, that's true. You kind of, you need to make him like, if he's gonna drive, you can't just like allow him to just kick it out and then just restart the whole process again. Like if he's gonna do it, at least make him like earn it.
Yeah, you've got to give him the harder passes, and if that means leaving Covington or Westbrook open instead of Tucker, even though you might want Tucker to catch the ball or have the ball compared to those guys, so be it. But I think that's still sort of the way to go. And then the other thing that I'm sort of grappling with, especially is offensively, is I just think you've got to have almost an even more LeBron-centric offense. And like I know that sounds crazy because LeBron is one of the most like heliocentric players in the NBA. And when the Lakers are on the court, like obviously LeBron touches the ball on every possession and he's the one initiating almost all the action.
Yeah.
I think LeBron is just going to have such a mismatch against pretty much whoever's guarding him this series that he's got to be more assertive, like getting to the basket. And that's one of the things we saw him do in like games 3, 4, and 5 of the series against the Blazers that like the Blazers had problems with. And LeBron's still one of the fastest, most explosive athletes in the NBA. Mm-hmm. And so I think at times he should be a little bit more selfish and stop settling for 3-pointers, which I thought he did.
Yeah, he did that a few. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So
yeah. But as for the Bucks Heat series, to me, that's like one of the more interesting series.
Yeah, me too.
Because those are like that's like one of the games that I actually watch from like start to finish.
Yeah.
Because I love watching Jimmy buckets. They just have so many good players on their team. Like it's crazy. The Heat are legit, dude.
Yeah, and that's my favorite series right now too.
They're giving Milwaukee serious issues, and I also think is it like a thing? Like is Giannis hurt?
Yeah,
did he actually come out with like a statement or something?
The Bucks listed him as questionable for Game 4.
Okay, because like what it's like his knee or ankle, right?
Yeah, he twisted his ankle a little bit in like the second quarter yesterday.
Okay, because I was just seeing. I remember that he like fell.
Yeah,
and then I remember he drove a few times and was like, he didn't have the best look on his face.
Yeah.
That's a really exciting. I always like watching the 1 seeds struggle.
Yeah. Which has been happening a lot over the past few days. Like Milwaukee is obviously on the ropes and the Lakers are going to need to figure out some answers against the Rockets. But I guess we could talk about that Bucks series just for a minute.
Bro, if anybody's in trouble, just kick it out to him. You have freaking Duncan. You have Goran. You have Bam. Mm-hmm. You have Jimmy. They have so many good players, dude. And who else? You have Hero. Like, it's crazy. Like, if you're in trouble, just dish it to someone. Like, that's a cool thing. Like, if a team's playing really good defense and the shot clock's winding down, it's like, whatever. We'll take it through.
Yeah, it doesn't even Yeah, it doesn't even phase them, especially with a team like Milwaukee who like sort of values the rim protection so much and is willing to give up more 3-pointers than most
Yeah.
other teams. And a team like the Heat can really take advantage of that. And they've also taken advantage of guys like Jay Crowder, who
Yeah, exactly.
Jay Crowder's playing the best basketball of his
Yeah,
career.
he hit like a couple big threes.
Yeah. And he's playing awesome defense. Like he's been sort of their base matchup against Giannis. And obviously you're going to send help on Giannis no matter what happens. But Crowder's holding up better than most guys would.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy. I talked about this when we previewed the series, and I did pick the Heat, and they're kind of just winning in ways that even I didn't expect. Like I didn't think Jimmy Butler was
Right.
going to be able to get anything going against the Bucks defense, and for the most part, he has. Like he wasn't very good in Game 2, but Game 1 and Game 3, like he's basically been doing everything he wants to. Like he's been getting to the basket. He's been getting to the line more than ever, which I thought was something that we'd see a decrease in for him. And then
My dad's in love with him.
Yeah, he's such a like
that guy could play any sport he wanted to. Like,
yeah, Jimmy Butler. I feel like he's just such a likable guy because his intensity.
I like him. He's really cocky, but he's cool.
Yeah,
I kind of like it for being how good he is. He's still like low key, kind of an underdog, which is really interesting to me.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't say he's underrated, but like he's
for sure. He's not underrated, but like
he's like not one of the superstars that you sort of think of.
Yeah, but I was surprised that his career high is 40 points.
Oh, really?
Or it's something like that. He had like a career. It might have been like a playoff career high, but it might have been like a playoff career high. But there was something about like he had a career high, and it was like they're talking about 40 points. I'm like, I'm surprised he hasn't scored more than 40.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm sure he has. I might be wrong, but
that's what he got in Game 1, though, right?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was surprised. Like if he's never scored 40 before, I was like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Dude. There's so many. There's a lot of good basketball and really competitive games, which is really cool to see. Like that Bucks game, that their lead dissipated like in the blink of an eye. They're up 10.
Right. Yeah.
Wait, they were like, it wasn't like 5 minutes left in the fourth.
No, I think they were up 10 with like 9 minutes.
Okay, it was definitely earlier in the quarter. But yeah, it went quickly because like
and then the Heat went on to outscore them 40-13 in the fourth quarter.
No, yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Didn't Jimmy Buckets outscore the whole entire freaking Bucks team?
Oh, I didn't see that, but that sounds right. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. But yeah, there's so much good basketball. But did you get a chance? You probably didn't get a chance to watch any UFC fights. There was some really good. Like it's so funny. My dad, he like talks about how there's not a lot of like arm bars. He's like, there's not a lot of men's arm bars because there's like a lot like Ronda Rousey's like that was one of her main things. She just put girls in arm bars all the time. But he's like, I don't really see a lot of guys getting arm bars. So it was hilarious. There was like a bunch of submissions today and he was getting like bored of it, but it was super funny. And there was like an arm bar and I was giving him crap about it because like they happen a ton, but he just, I don't know, he's really stubborn when it comes to some things where he thinks he's right. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I'll talk about the UFC for a little bit. There's a bunch of guys that got, not a bunch. This card was shorter because there was some cancel. I think someone got COVID, like a few guys.
Oh, really?
It's like Jalen Turner or something like that. I forget exactly what it was, but Jalen Turner, like the tarantula, he's really good. They were supposed to fight, and then there was a couple other ones that got canceled. But I didn't mind the shorter card because it got over earlier. And it's kind of sick to do these podcasts once everything's over. The only thing that wasn't done is the Giants, but they just won.
Nice.
And it was like the 8th inning.
That's cool.
4-3. And then we'll make sure we'll do our players of the week at the end of this.
Oh yeah, good call.
Because I have a couple.
Okay.
But yeah, so starting off, there wasn't because like it was all basically the main card, but there was one. It was Cole Smith versus Hunter Azure, and Hunter Azure is an absolute stud. His wrestling was crazy good, and yeah, that fight was insane. Like, I don't know, it was pretty competitive. Like for how much Hunter was kind of mauling Cole Smith. It was ridiculous because Cole, every time they got up, he was still seemed really fresh and was pushing the pace on his feet, which was sweet. But Hunter, he did enough in rounds 1 and 2 to get the dub. And then Vivian, I think it's like Arajao or something, or Varjao versus Montana De La Rosa, bro. This girl is absolutely stacked. And she was like, Montana De La Rosa's face looked not even the same after. Like, it was so jacked up. But yeah, Montana De La Rosa and her husband, Mark, they're like married and they fight in the UFC together. And like apparently their daughter or something is like a state champion in Texas. And I'm like, well, she has no excuse not to be. Literally, both of her parents are in the UFC. They're gonna breed her to be just like a killer.
There are quite a few couples in the UFC, aren't there?
Or at least mixed martial. Yeah, there's a lot of.
Oh yeah, or at least in mixed martial.
Because like if you train together and stuff, you're like, I like him. Or like her, and then they get together and then they're like training partners and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I'm sure all those hormones at like the gym.
Yeah, all those women love those alpha males.
Yeah, these are guys with a lot of testosterone, I feel like.
Yeah. I honestly couldn't even imagine like being a coach or something and having to deal with some of these guys, like especially if they were hard headed or whatever, telling them something and they're like, if they're stuck in their ways, and like. I just feel like that's probably one of the toughest, and just like also like interviewing and stuff. Some of these guys, they're so like, I don't want to talk to you, blah blah blah, and you have to keep such good composure. Because I've seen, do you know Nate Diaz?
Yeah,
there's this guy Brett Okamoto who's an absolute savage reporter for ESPN MMA. Yeah. And he did an interview with Nate Diaz, and Nate Diaz didn't want to be there at all, was giving him short answers or whatever. And Brett was just fine, kept asking him questions and just like takes and everything. I'm like, that right there is like
professional,
admirable, because so many people I feel like would get awkward, you know, because you expect people to answer your questions, but if they're like, nah, you're like, sick. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I feel like it's definitely tough, but there's definitely a lot of professional athletes like that, like Marshawn, but you kind of expect that. And even like Russell Westbrook.
Oh yeah, definitely Russell Westbrook for the NBA, I feel like.
No, yeah, for sure. And so that ended in a unanimous decision. Montana, she had some good moments in there, but she was like starting to feel herself, but it was kind of later in the fight where she was already banged up and she never really started to push the pace or like throw as many strikes in. Vivian throws some hard ass shots. So yeah, she took the dub there. Brian Kelleher came back and fought Ray Rodriguez. I forget. Brian Kelleher was coming off a loss, I'm pretty sure, but he's been like really busy throughout quarantine, which is awesome. Like, oh yeah, he beat he lost to Cody Stamen. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, he's been fighting it because I'm pretty sure he's let me see. Yeah, he's a featherweight, but I'm pretty sure no, actually, never mind. I just know he's just been really busy. I thought he was fluctuating in weight and stuff, going down to like 135, but no, yeah, he's just been really busy, and it's really like the UFC must love guys like that. They can just step in on short notice, especially now. Like, I can't like emphasize that enough. Like, guys that are doing that, like it's massive, because anybody at any given time could just get COVID. You know what I mean? And especially if you want to get your name out there, like it's massive for you.
If they have to like accept a fight at the last second like that, and they're basically
it's
like
high risk, it's low risk, high reward.
And they're basically like doing the UFC a favor, if anything.
Right, exactly.
Does that game still like count against their contract, or does that fight still count like towards their contract?
Yeah, and some of these guys aren't even signed with the UFC, and they like the UFC will sign them, so it's like worth it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
If you're like already on a contract, it doesn't really make sense to like waste a game off your contract in a fight you'd have a disadvantage in.
No, but right? High key though, like if you do it, I'm pretty sure it will go, because they're required. Like the UFC will offer you like 4 fights a year or whatever, or 6 fights depending on your contract. But if you take them, and I'm sure even now if you take them, that can be used as leverage. Like, yeah, you just be like, bro, I stepped in on short notice and took a loss. Like, you can't use that against me. I literally did you a favor. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So it kind of goes both ways.
In the UFC, I bet more than any other sport, it's probably super important to have a good agent, isn't it?
100%. And if you're smart enough, like, you honestly can if you like consult with the right people, you could do stuff yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as you have good coaches and get everything, you can, because there are some guys that do that. And it's not even a bad idea, because especially when you're a lower level fighter, like agents will take up a lot of your money, and you have to pay your corner and your coach and your gym. And by the time you get paid, what, like $30,000 after taxes, and you're paying everybody, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
You have to work on the side. It's not like, it's tough. But, and then Andre Muniz is really good. I'm pretty sure it wasn't his first. He was a Dana White Contender Series fighter. And this guy, the guy he fought, I think it's like Bartosz Fabinski. He like shot and took him down, and then it was the weirdest armbar ever. It was like, so like because it helps so much to have like long flexible legs or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he just like Fabinski was on top of him, and Muniz like managed to creep his leg over Fabinski's head, and then he just like grabbed onto like, it looked like it was going to be a triangle, and then he just grabbed his arm and then submitted him. It was pretty wild. Like, some of these guys are legit. Like, their submissions are so smooth. But wait, did I finish Brian Kelleher? He won by a guillotine. Sorry, I kind of messed that up. Huh?
No, what's the guillotine again? That's not like a regular armbar, is it?
No. Okay, so sorry, my bad. Muniz won by an armbar without like, and then Brian Kelleher won via it was Ray Rodriguez took it. He had an early shot, like he took an early takedown, and then Brian sunk in a guillotine, which is basically like, imagine me shooting a takedown on you and my head's like this, and then you like wrap your arm over the top, and then you're like pulling up.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then some guys have just really strong squeezes. That's basically it.
What's the most like painful submission in the UFC? Like, what's the most painful position that you can like put your opponent in?
Probably like an arm bar.
Really?
Or a knee bar, or like an ankle lock thing. Because like, if you're around the neck, like, it depends. Like, it could be probably actually like a neck crank where it's not under your chin, and you're just like cranking on your chin.
Yeah, that would hurt. They don't let people like strangle the other fighters though, do they?
No, not like you can't put your hand around it, but you can actually put like your hand over your mouth. Like over their mouth, and like you can like restrict their breathing low-key. Guys do that all the time when they're on top of them, like when they're in mount.
That probably works well for submission.
Yeah, because sometimes guys, when they're, because like, you know, when they're on the ground and a guy has his legs over the other fighter.
Yeah.
So he's in his like guard. Right. Sometimes when guys can't pass their guard, like get their legs over their fighter, you know, where they can't wrap their legs around their like waist, they'll do whatever they can to just like get an advantage. So they'll just put their hand over their face or something, and they'll just try to restrict. That happened today, actually. And then Michel Pereira is like the guy I want to talk about today. He's literally a savage, like capoeira, like freaking crazy kicks, crazy spin. He won via rear naked choke, but he like did a like a Showtime kick, like Anthony. Have you seen the Anthony Pettis video where he like runs on the cage and then kicks Benson Henderson?
No.
Okay, well, he did one of those. Like, he ran on the cage and tried to kick, and then he did like flying knee. And he was actually like the guy that he fought. Oh crap! It was like Imanaev or something. Imadaev, and he like slapped him at weigh-ins. Imadaev did, and so during the fight, Michel Pereira was like showing him his open hand, and freaking was throwing overhand, open hand bombs, like slap boxing, and he was just cracking him. But yeah, Zalim Imadaev was like, he's like a legit boxer. I forget how many bouts he had, but he's only lost like one boxing match. He's like a legit striker. But Michel Pereira is an absolute savage. You need to go on ESPN MMA and watch some of his highlights, bro. He was insane. I watched him actually, like the first time I ever saw him was when he fought Diego Sanchez and he lost because I'm pretty sure he got DQ'd because he like kneed Diego Sanchez while he was down or something like that. And so he actually took an L, but he was destroying Diego Sanchez the whole time. But that's a guy, he's one of my performers in the week. Like,
wait, you're not allowed to knee people while they're laying down?
in the head.
Oh, in the head. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I forget when you have, it depends on what rules they're using. But like if you're like on a knee or something, you can't knee them in the head or something. And like, yeah.
Yeah, that seems like a good rule because you can like hit people while
you're in a really vulnerable position.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need to watch some of the Michel Pereira fights. He's crazy good, dude. And he's built like he's a strong 170er. And he called out Jorge Masvidal, but that will never happen. But I honestly, no one in the 170-pound division wants to fight that guy. I swear to God. He's so scary, dude. Like there's just guys that you watch on TV where you're like, yeah, that would not be fun. Like that's not like the other guy's not having fun right now. He's not enjoying himself.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to explain it. It's just like the way he hits people just looks so painful.
Yeah, no.
Sometimes there's like a barrier, in between when you're watching TV and you're not actually there. You're like,
right.
Or there's like a regular fight. But he is one of those guys that genuinely makes me uncomfortable to watch him.
Yeah, you feel like the secondhand pain from the guy getting his life beat out of him by.
Mm-hmm. But dude, these guys,
I feel that for all the fights, no matter what. Like it kind of all looks painful to me.
Yeah, you're right. It does. Like even like the most minuscule things that you don't think would hurt, like just like kicking someone in the shin, like that shit hurts.
Yeah,
like for both ends.
Yeah, or I think it looks painful when they like do this, kick them in the back of the calves and stuff.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like checking a kick, like I was just like playing around with one of my friends, and like they like checked a kick where like they stuck their like kneecap out and you like hit their knee with your foot, and you want to like fall down and die. And those guys take that and they keep standing up. Like the toughness is out of this world. But Michel Pereira, keep your eyes out for that man. He's an absolute savage. No one should sign up to fight him. He's lost 11 times because I feel like kind of his style, he's prone to getting caught, but like he'll catch you eventually. But yeah, and then OSP fought, Ovin St. Preux fought Alonzo Menafield. Alonzo Menafield is absolutely bodied up, stacked. Both of them played football. Like Ovin St. Preux played football at Tennessee, and Alonzo Menafield played like arena football. And Ovin St. Preux, he his last fight was against like Ben Rothwell at heavyweight, I'm pretty sure, and he lost a close split decision. He looked really good, and he's moving down to 205. So those guys don't feel as heavy, obviously, when you're fighting a heavyweight. You know what I mean? And he clipped him. I forget, but I think it was a left hand. And some of these guys that have such, like I was telling you with Kevin Holland, some of these guys with such long arms, they generate so much leverage and like force with such small, like, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Such small movements, and it just sleeps people. It's absolutely out of this world. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's the same for like, I feel like golf is like when you get the tall people with like long wingspans, like they don't really have to have like a longer, like a fast swing to generate like club head speed.
Like his left hand was like tucked up tight, and he just went like, and it just like slept Alonzo. I'm like, what? And but I can't even imagine like the difference it would be between fighting a huge man at heavyweight and then having to fight like a smaller guy. Like I feel like that's such a big advantage for people, because moving up in weight class is way more difficult, but like moving down and after feeling like a huge man, it's got to be quite the advantage. Especially Ovin St. Preux fought like the cream of the crop at light heavyweight, and Alonzo Menafield just like a rising star. He's still good though. I want to try to get him on the show. He's a really nice guy. And Alistair Overeem versus Augusto Sakai. Augusto Sakai doesn't have his, like I was saying this last time, like previewing the fight, he doesn't have like the resume that Alistair Overeem does, but he still fought super well. But Alistair Overeem ultimately, it was so refreshing watching a heavyweight bout where like there was actual strategy, because you know how some of these heavy guys can just kind of look not technical at all. This was the
Yeah, and it
complete
just
opposite.
turns
Like
into this, like,
both of these guys were absolute studs. Like they had a strategy, and like Alistair Overeem's experience showed hella tonight, because he kind of, not that Augusto got tired, but he kind of played a little rope-a-dope game where he would let Augusto Sakai kind of charge him. And obviously Alistair Overeem ate some heavy shots, but he kind of just like crunched up and against the cage a couple times and just let Augusto Sakai like hit him with a couple flurries. And it was really weird. I thought he was hurt at one point, but then the fight started to change when Alistair started taking him down and ground and pound. And Augusto, he was taking him into some dark, deep waters that Augusto, I don't think, was used to. Like he wasn't accustomed to that. So yeah, a sick night of fights, lots of finishes, which is always cool to see. And even the decisions were just action packed from like the first round to the third or fifth, which is awesome to see. But yeah, there's so many other good fights that are coming up, like Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa, and Colby Covington versus Tyron Woodley, dude. You have to watch that. The promos and like the build up for that fight is gonna be crazy, especially now, because Colby Covington is one of the most like divisive figures in the MMA community.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't even follow UCF or anything like that, but I still see Colby Covington everywhere, I feel like.
I know. Yeah, he's something else. But yeah, and then today, the freaking 53-man rosters have become official. We cut a few of my guys, like Savon Ackman got cut, running back from University of Washington, but that was earlier. Juwan Jennings got cut from Tennessee. He was like a 7th round draft pick or something. And then I think
all guys who are on the 49ers.
Yeah, 49ers guys. And then JaMychal Hasty got cut. But yeah, I'm really happy with our 53-man run. Like, it's sick. There's so many good guys, dude.
That's
it's
awesome.
pretty. Yeah, there was supposed to be like a trade or something weird that was going to go down before, but apparently nothing happened. But yeah, and then Jadeveon Clowney went to the freaking Titans, which is crazy. I don't think he's officially. Is he officially there yet? I'm not sure. Clowney expected to join the Titans, sources say, which is crazy. Just as long as he's not a Seahawk.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? He single-handedly ruined that first game against the Niners. Like, but yeah, the Niners are absolutely going to tear through everybody. I swear, dude. Besides the guys in our division, if we're playing the whole NFC East, there's no way any teams are beating us. I swear.
You predicted 14-2, right?
Mm-hmm. I just see maybe a hiccup against the Bills or something, and then probably against the Seahawks. I just do not see a lot of teams beating the 49ers. Like, they're stacked to the brim on defense, dude. They got Jason Verrett, all-pro, or at least a Pro Bowler, who's going to take over the other side, or he's expected to take over the the other corner side, you know what I mean? Because obviously Sherm's there.
Yeah.
And Sherm might even transition, because now that they have depth, they might even transition him into safety, playing safety a little bit, which is good.
That would kind of be weird, I feel like, to see him at safety, but I guess
we got to do what we got to do, though, because he's gonna, when we play like teams that can stretch the field, he could get burnt, and that's the last thing we need. That's some of the big. That's probably our biggest weakness, is getting burnt.
Mm-hmm.
Besides that, we stopped the run really well for most games. But I'm actually pretty pleased with my pick to pick the Ravens, because the Ravens have to play like the Bills and the Bengals, you know? And the Niners defense on fantasy, they have to play the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Cardinals. And it's inevitable they're going to give up points to those teams. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So I honestly feel like the Ravens defense is actually the move.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's crazy that it's like this episode is kind of sick, though, because it's almost like everything is coming back. Like there's not just like one thing we can talk about. Like there's going to be like college football, and then now there's the NBA, with the NBA is kind of like winding down, but it'll still be here for like a month. And then
this is something I noticed. It's just kind of a like random thing. It doesn't really matter. But when I was like watching TV earlier, and when I turned on the TV, it was just on ESPN, and there was like a college football game between, I want to say, Arkansas State and Texas State or whatever. And have you watched college football yet this year on ESPN?
No.
Like the little scoreboard thing at the bottom of the screen looks completely different now.
It does?
Yeah, they have changed it. And I think
Really?
I think it's really cool now.
What does it look like?
Well, you know how
it's not like the little box where it's on top of each other anymore?
No. Now they have like a long one that stretches across the entire bottom of the screen. Here, let me see if I can pull up a picture of it.
Dude,
it's like very colorful.
Really? Did you see Kirk Herbstreit's thing that he did today?
No.
Bro, you need to look it up. He was like crying. It was pretty cool to see.
Was it like a racial
injustice thing? It was really sad to watch. Because like it's so weird seeing some of these people that like you see like usually happy because that's like their job, you know, and they're doing college game day, and now it's so odd.
Oh, it was Texas State against SMU.
Okay, let me see. Bro, that looks just like the Madden one.
Really?
Yeah, it kind of looks like the Madden one, except the Madden one's on the top. Like at least the numbers look like that.
I thought it kind of reminded me of Monday Night Football.
Yeah, it looks just like Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Hey, that looks cool.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice update.
No, yeah, for sure. It looks really cool. And you get kind of like, instead of getting the little abbreviations, you kind of almost get the whole name down there.
Yeah, and you can see the team logo and stuff all the time. I thought it was a...
Wait, that's the SMU game?
Yeah, I thought it was an upgrade.
Bro, there was one team, I think it was like... let me see. I think it was because we were talking about We Are Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
And Marshall beat Eastern Kentucky like 59-0.
Really?
Yeah.
Eastern Kentucky is like FCS though, right?
Probably, yeah. And then Middle Tennessee got slashed by Army, which is no surprise. 42-0. But yeah, dude, they're like, I'm kind of sad that the Pac-12 is not going to be playing though, honestly. Same with I'm pretty sure the Notre Dame went to the ACC to play because they're like unaffiliated. That's a smart move, dude.
And it makes sense because they're like already in the ACC for basketball. So it's basically the same thing.
Exactly. But yeah, it's going to be really weird. Like, the Big 12 is playing, ACC is playing in the SEC. So basically, it's going to just be like, you might as well just pencil in Clemson and like let the SEC play for whatever. But it's really stinks. Like, I want to see like Ohio State play Oregon, and that's not going to happen. It's such trash, dude.
I basically, like, not to sound like pessimistic, but I basically stopped caring about college football as soon as I like realized there wouldn't be any fans in the stadium because I don't really watch it on
fans
TV.
Is what make college football legit, like tailgating.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like the pageantry of it, I feel like.
No, yeah, exactly. And like, I don't know. It's just going to be really, I don't really care about college football now that the Pac-12 is not playing.
Yeah, it's going to be a strange fall for sure.
Well, I just don't understand what's going to happen with the champions. Like, there's going to be two separate champions if they end up playing later this year in the winter or the spring. Like, how's that even going to work?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Are you just going to like stay ready and then have a legit national championship or what? Because a Pac-12 team is and a Big Ten team. The Big Ten, like, I don't know. Those are like kind of the second tier of the Power Five. Like to me, well, I actually do JK, bro. Like, I don't know. I feel like Big 12, Big 10, Pac-12 are always in the same boat. Like, talent-wise.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's always the SEC that dominates everything, and then the ACC obviously have Clemson.
Yeah. And then
It's
then
honestly like just the SEC and everybody else, and then whoever's lucky within whoever gets the best talent in between those years.
Yeah.
That makes it run. The SEC is the most consistent. Like you might as well just have like a freaking like a tournament between the SEC teams, because that's basically, because if you put literally any SEC team against a Pac-12, Big 10, or Big 12 school, it's competitive. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
The SEC has pretty much been the best college football conference since like we've been alive. Though.
Yeah, you can put Ole Miss against one of the best teams in the Pac-12, or like one of the worst teams in the SEC against one of the better teams in the Pac-12. I guarantee you the Pac-12 is going to have a really difficult time playing for at least the first half.
Yeah,
like they're going to have like that's just how it rolls. Like it's weird.
Didn't Cal beat Ole Miss like last year?
Probably, yeah.
Or
like Cal was kind of hot at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like I don't know, but if dude, like playing an SEC school beats the crap out of you. Like
Yeah.
Oregon playing Auburn, like I don't think Oregon could sustain a whole season playing in an SEC. You know, like the physicality is just different.
Yeah,
Like,
even though that's like what Mario Cristobal is like trying to do, is kind of trying to recruit like big physical kids in turn Oregon.
Right. No, yeah, I know what you mean. But it's just different when you have to play those teams every single week,
Yeah.
week in and week out. Like it's honestly like it's no wonder that those are the best guys that survive in the NFL.
Yeah, but
because they're used to it.
But then it's like you go to the Big 12 and like I feel like a lot of teams would have trouble like keeping up with that like pace weekend, and so every conference just I feel like brings something different to the table.
110%. But yeah, is there anything else?
SEC translates to the NFL the most easily, I guess, like you were saying.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like you get obviously like the Lamar Jacksons and like Patrick Mahomeses and stuff, but like
unless you're like
players that are legit,
yeah,
most of them come from the SEC,
right?
Because that's what I'm saying. Like Oregon, they can prepare all off season. They play Auburn. I feel like that takes a crap ton out of you playing that. But Auburn has to turn around next week and then play freaking like even like a Texas A&M or something. You know what I mean? Like that's tough
for sure.
And also that's kind of why they like teams have a shot, especially in the ACC and the Big 12 or Big 10 or Pac-12, because they can kind of if they make it to the postseason. They haven't rested, obviously, but they have time to prepare for it. Some of these teams in the SEC, they don't have time. They have to go week to week, like back to back to back to back, just pounding away.
Yeah, good point.
That's kind of what I thought about, like Chip Kelly when they played Auburn.
Yeah.
In the 2011 national championship game.
Right.
I'm like, if Oregon had to play in the SEC week in and week out, they would get torched. But since they had 4 weeks to train or prepare, that's what kind of gives them an advantage. I think that's what levels the playing field.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could be stupid, but that's kind of just what I think.
Yeah, I mean, like Oregon, I feel like
they're changing a lot though. Oregon's going to become a powerhouse soon.
Yeah, and they're
like a different kind of powerhouse.
They've always been like super good though, like
right for sure.
But like maybe their guys just couldn't compete with, I guess, like physicality and strength for like a whole season. But I mean, like
I don't really see a lot of teams that would have competed like heavily with Oregon this year. Like USC is good. I don't know how much. I feel like Utah lost a few good players. Like they obviously lost their best running back. And then
Utah, I wouldn't have picked them.
Arizona State's a sleeper though.
Yeah, with like Jaden Daniels.
But they lost that year.
USC would be the main one though. But do you want to hop into our performers of the week?
Yeah, for sure. You can go first since I've been talking a lot.
Okay, so I guess let's see. For my performer of the week, I guess I'll go with the guy we've already talked about, Jimmy Butler, because I feel like you've got to give props to somebody from the Heat, because going up 3-0 against the 1 seed when you're a 5 seed is like a crazy accomplishment, and he's sort of been the ringleader for them. I think he's been their leading scorer in 2 of the games, and he's obviously just sort of the heart and soul of the team. And Yeah, he's just playing really good basketball, and he's got his teammates playing really well too. So I'll take Jimmy. What about you?
I'm gonna go with obviously Michel Pereira. I can't like this guy's a savage. He's only 26 years old. Definitely gonna probably contend for the belt within the next 1 to 2 years.
Oh wow.
God willing. And then my other boy, Alex Dickerson, left fielder for the San Francisco Giants, is an absolute savage. Let's see I think he pinched hit today, but I don't think he did anything. He got a rest day. Darren Ruff filled in for him today, which is good. He's earned a day off for sure. But I just want to. He's juiced up his batting average, close to 100 points in the last week.
Jeez.
Yeah. Because he was the guy that I told you went 5 for 6 with 2 doubles and 3 home runs.
Yeah.
The other day, the 15th. He's the 15th guy ever to do that. Let me see. I don't think he did anything today. Like I said, he pinch hit, I believe. Oh yeah, he went 0 for 2 today, but it's fine. Okay, let me see. He recent games, he was batting. I believe it was 180. No, yeah, he was batting 195 on August 28th. Okay. And now it's August 5th?
Yeah, September.
Or September 5th, and he's batting 277.
Yeah, that's a huge
Yeah, that's my boy right there. Dude, I'm really happy with the Giants. They obviously took the dub today. They played good yesterday. They were 1 base running error from taking a dub, most likely, or at least sending it to extra innings the day before, or yesterday, obviously. But there's almost getting to the point where there's no holes in the lineup, which is really crucial if you want to make a run in the playoffs. Brandon Belt's hitting good, Brandon Crawford's hitting good, Mauricio Dubon, and then they had a rest day, because after the game where they scored 23 runs against the Rockies, and they ended up losing the next game. Dude, that made me so mad. But they had a rest day, and they're getting a lot of playing. Young guys are getting a lot of playing time, and they're looking really promising.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because you didn't really have any expectations for the Giants, so it's kind of cool. When you've got a young team who's not expected to contend, but then you can see some growth and internal improvement.
No, yeah, for sure.
It almost feels like a really good season, even if you don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I honestly think we will. We're gonna get hot here because we already are hot. We can play any team in the league and do fine. We've literally competed our asses off against the Dodgers, and they're one of the best teams in baseball. So we're gonna be fine. Nobody wants to play us because we generate offense no matter who's pitching. Oh, we faced Madison Bumgarner for the first time since he's left. He was our ace, and now he's a Diamondback.
Yeah,
and we faced him today. And Evan Longoria and Darren Ruff hit bombs off of him. Pretty sick. I'm not exactly sure what happened to our starting pitcher today. He only threw 2 and 2. So he threw 2 and 2/3 innings. So I don't know what happened there. We had to kind of piece together our game, which is kind of tough.
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
9 innings. That is tough. But yeah, super pumped. Our team's looking very promising, and I get really frustrated reading articles and stuff about how the Giants they're perfect for this. I've also said it, but after watching the games that they played, I really think that they have talent that could sustain a whole 162 game season. But everybody's hating on them. They're they have just enough where they can compete right now. And it's I don't know about that. They have some really good players, and as long as they stay semi-consistent. And I feel we're at a point now too where it's guys that are playing good, it's not really a fluke anymore.
Yeah, it's a large enough sample size at this point.
Exactly. But I'm 100% down if they want to decrease some of the games off their original schedules.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well, because
this is making me appreciate the 162 game season more, because I know people are always you got to earn your money, you're playing just baseball every single day, but it's it's actually kind of a grind, bro, because I've been watching most of the games,
Yeah.
knowing that because every game basically matters.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is how they feel for like 162 games, and they have to play day after day after day. And I'm just like watching it, and I'm like, bro, it's kind of a lot.
Yeah.
I know that they're like pushing a lot of stuff together. Like travel days aren't as frequent now, but it's like a lot.
Yeah. The way I always sort of think about it is because they want to play a lot of games, obviously, to like generate revenue, and they can sell tickets and like commercials during every game.
100%.
But like you reach a certain point of diminishing returns, I feel like, where once you've played a ton of games, like each game becomes less meaningful, and the fans start like not caring and sort of tuning out of like unimportant games. And so like I feel like really you could make more money by having less games, and even though you're selling like less tickets, you're selling more tickets per game, and you're selling them at a higher price, that you could really end up breaking even, and you'd have a better product because guys would be better rested and all that stuff. So
100%. I agree with that 100%. And also to piggyback off that, I don't think it's right to have a season where like if you fuck up for a month that won't necessarily hurt you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that kind of bothers me.
Yeah.
Like how a good team, they can just kind of cruise in. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Like
I don't think that you should be able to take a month off. Like not that they do, but like if you go like sub like freaking if you win like 30.3 or percent, if you win like a 30 year games for a month, like that doesn't affect you, you know? Like I think that's kind of crap.
The thing I do like about baseball though is like how few teams make the playoffs. Like
they're expanding it though this year.
They are.
Yeah, this year's like a whole experiment now. Dude, yeah, I've heard so much stuff on the radio about rules that they want to change, like expanding it, and even like teams picking the wild card team that they want to play.
I think that's a good idea.
Like, isn't that wild?
Yeah, I think that's a cool. I've always sort of advocated that for the NBA, that like they should have a fantasy draft, and the 1 seed should be able to pick any team they want to play, and then
You mean like a lottery?
Yeah. Well, not really a lottery.
What do you mean a fantasy draft?
Yeah, fantasy draft, because it wouldn't like be by chance. I just think it would be cool because there would be like rivalries, because like if the one team picked like I guess the seventh seed would like take offense to it, you know?
Oh yeah, true that.